Hello, I'm Mary Brett, the resident doer of things. Thank you for being here. At the Doers of Things podcast, we intend to share conversations with you that demystify the creative process and humanize the journey, which are just fancy ways of saying we hope you get inspired to go out and do the things that bring you joy after hearing a fellow human share how and why they do what they do. We are all innate creators, curating our reality with every thought, word, and action. My guests all have different stories, backgrounds, and passions, but the one thing they hold in common is that they do the things that nurture the reality they want to live. They all just started somewhere and kept doing. Today, we're going to share a conversation had with Jaimee Harris, singer, songwriter, harmonizer, and troubadour. But first, I want to let you know that this is a value for value, pay what you wish, give what you can, free will investment model listening experience. That means you get to choose what you contribute in time, talent, or treasure to reflect the amount of value you get from listening to the Doers of Things. No donation is too small, and all donations help produce the show. Head over to thedoersofthings.com to learn more in the Contribute tab. Jaimee Harris is a Texas musician who now lives in Nashville with her partner, acclaimed songwriter Mary Gaucher. While Harris cut her teeth on the stage singing backup for Jimmy LaFave and others, she is now branching out into the spotlight. I got to speak with Jaimee while she was on a solo tour passing through Mobile, Alabama in early of 2023, right before the release of her sophomore album, Boomerang Town. Here is our conversation. So, Jaimee Harris, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
To have a conversation.
Let's start off with you just kind of sharing how you see your experience in this journey so far. How have you experienced it?
With music, with songwriting, with all of that? Oh, man. It's that's a difficult thing to articulate. It's been extraordinary. First of all, I feel very fortunate that I feel like most of my dreams have already come true. When I was a kid, the reason I wanted to sing was because I was totally and completely mesmerized by Emmylou Harris's voice. So my parents put on this Emmylou Harris Christmas record called Light at the Stable, and I sat in front of that stereo and listened to that, particularly the title track, over and over and over again. And I've since learned later in life that the backing harmonies are Neil Young, Linda Ronstadt, and Dolly Parton.
How could you have gone wrong with that?
Exactly, right? So I mean, that's when I got my first guitar, and Emmylou is just one of my biggest inspirations as far as the songs that she's brought forth into the world and the songs she's written, her harmony work, her work as a collaborator, all of it. Just absolutely love it. And, I've been fortunate to be in her orbit recently, and she gave me a nice compliment about my harmonies. I'm like, well, that's it. That's cool. This is kind of, not that I'm seeking Emmylou Harris's approval, but it certainly doesn't suck.
Yeah.
So I feel really fortunate. I've also really recognized during the lockdown part of the pandemic that it's been incredible to have a job that I want to go back to.
Yeah.
I've really, since I've gone back out in the world, realized there are so many people that wasn't the case. And also to have so much purpose tied into my work, I think it's been like a life raft for me since I got into this.
What is the biggest message you find yourself trying to say with your work?
Oh, it's different with every song. And I think that's what I love about it. Starting with a blank page and a new discovery with every song is the thrill of it for me. And I always try to honor whatever the song is asking me to do. And that's so radically different every time, other than to tell the truth. That seems to be the most common or most consistent theme, I guess, is to tell the truth.
So what's your process like? Are you a morning, daytime, night, anytime you can get it, slapdash, stream of conscious?
Yeah, it's certainly changed. I used to write in this way where I would sit with my guitar and I would come up with something and I would play it over and over and over again, and then I would walk away, kind of come back to it and play it over and over again, while sometimes writing certain ideas on different sticky notes. Because I used to write a lot more than I do now, as far as a lot more songs were coming through at one time. And I'd realize if I put them on my wall as if I was trying to solve a crime or something, I would put them on my wall and I'd realize there were kind of common themes coming together. But I wouldn't write full verses necessarily down. And my experience was, or my method was, okay, well, if it's not good enough for me to remember it when I come back to my guitar to play it, it's probably not strong enough to be in the song. But in 2016, I got into a car wreck, and I have a brain injury as a result of that car wreck. And so I have to write everything down or else I forget it. And that's turned out to be one of the biggest blessings in my writing, because I was missing out in the tremendous power of editing, which I feel like a lot of, novelists talk about, maybe journalists, but songwriters talk about it for sure. But I wasn't as aware of the importance of the editing process until I kind of stumbled into it through this brain injury. And so now what I find myself doing is anytime somebody says something that strikes me, normally I have my phone with me, so I pull out my email and email it to myself.
Okay.
And I have a whole document of stuff that I've kept for years and years and years that I call it my scraps pile. So whether I'm reading a book and a line sticks out to me, or, I've got to see Rickie Lee Jones play twice this last week at a festival we were at, and she said something that I thought was so powerful, which is everything you write becomes part of your future one way or another.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Right? I get that. Yeah.
And the second she said that, I was like, I got to pull out my phone. And I saw her in New Orleans last year, and she said something that struck me as well, which is, if we didn't have much to heal, our songs wouldn't be made of much, would they? And same thing, I pulled out my phone and went, we're writing that down. Yeah. Little phrases people say. I've learned to really mind those, one, because I'm not going to remember because of my brain injury, but I think a lot of us, when we get that little jolt of, this is interesting to me, I think it's important to keep a file of those things, because there's no guarantee that that's going to stay with us.
Right. I call those my golden nuggets.
That's perfect.
I have a golden nugget note in my notepads.
Oh, that's great. I love that, the golden nuggets.
Yeah. What is one of your, talking about editing, most useful tools you found so far in editing? How do you determine that line's not strong enough?
Well, definitely one of the best things that I've ever done in my life is in 2017, I went to a songwriting workshop. I started writing when I was maybe 13 years old, and I had never gone to a songwriting workshop before. But I saw that these three women, who in my opinion are three of the most tremendous songwriters on earth, Eliza Gilkyson, Gretchen Peters, and Mary Gaucher.
Oh, geez.
Right? I know. I was like, nearly had a heart attack. I was like, oh, okay. And not just that they were women and that they were so powerful and I so resonated with their work, but they were also people that I know have a troubadour career. Yeah. These are people I see that aren't just working from behind a desk, although there's super value in that as well. But I was drawn to, I'm like, these are three women that have a career that I want, in addition to writing songs that I think are unbelievable. And so I learned so much in that workshop. And some of it was stuff that I had been doing subconsciously that I'm now able to bring in consciously when I'm writing, particularly if I'm co-writing. I think one of the most powerful things that doesn't occur to a lot of writers that I've seen in different workshops is when you say I in a song, when you write a song in first person, there can be a fear of that going, oh, but I don't want these people to think, that I'm this character, that I do exactly this. But the truth is, when a listener hears I, they're thinking about themselves. Right. Because we're a little narcissist or something, and that's how it works. And I think the other most powerful thing that I've learned to harness is the idea that I'm the writer, and every song is being told from the perspective of a narrator. Okay. Just like an author of a book would. Right. And so even if the narrator is me, it's not me, the writer. It's me 10 minutes ago. It's me 12 years ago. Yeah. And that has been really, really powerful for me to understand, because it's given me more permission to get behind the eyes of different narrators, which has really served me in this latest record that I have coming out called Boomerang Town. The songs that I've gotten to hear so far are amazing. Thank you. Some of them make you want to cry. Some of them make you want to tap your toe. Some of them make you want to tap your toe while you're crying. That's my sweet. I love that. That's my sweet. And I caught myself humming your song while you were in the bathroom, and I was just like, pull it together. You can't be humming her song while she's so about cool. to come out here and catch you. I love that. No, that's the biggest honor. Thank you. So you've brought up Mary, and so, in my little research that I've done is that you met each other at that songwriting. We did. And then, it turned from a mentorship into something much, much more and grander.
What is it like to have two songwriters in the house at the same time? Do y'all get in each other's way? Do you purposely book solo tours so that you're out of the house and she can write and vice versa? How do y'all do that?
We're still figuring it out for sure, but it's completely different than I could have imagined. If you had told me 6 years ago, like, you're going to end up with a songwriter, I would have told you were out of your mind.
Yeah.
I was like, not going to be with a musician. That's too complicated. Certainly not going to be with a songwriter. But it turns out it's incredible. We've written together some, although I think we're trying to learn how to have a business together as well as a coupleship. And for me, I need different things business-wise than she does.
Okay.
So, like, I would love to write with you. Let's put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
Let's treat it like, as if, I'm not Lori McKenna, but let's, as if I was approaching Lori McKenna to have a write. I feel like I need that from her as well. Like, let's put it on the calendar. Let's, like, honor the time around this. But truthfully, both of us, I think, are a little bit workaholics in the realm of the admin work.
Okay.
So we can use that quite often as a distraction from actually writing songs. But touring together has been incredible. Getting to share that part of our lives has been extraordinary.
So bringing up touring, what is your favorite thing about that? A favorite thing about going on the road? And aside from the music, okay, obviously we know that that's fun and that's your purpose, but there's so much more time spent that isn't on that stage sharing the songs. You have to like something about it.
For sure.
What do you like about that part of it?
I think because I grew up in a town that, at least my experience of where I grew up was that there wasn't a lot of opportunity to see music or to eat food that wasn't a chain restaurant. First of all, I just love to eat. Yeah. Mary loves to eat too. So we look for great food on the road, whether it's a Arepa's truck or a nice restaurant or just really good coffee is one of the biggest joys of my life. But I just think I felt like the first 18 years of my life, I didn't get to see a lot of the world. I was really, my parents are high school sweethearts, and they had me when they were quite young, so we couldn't really afford to travel.
Right.
My grandparents are there, so it's not like I even went out of town to see family. Like, my whole family was there. And so I feel very, very hungry still to discover the world in any possible way that I can. It's still exhilarating to me just to be in motion.
Yeah. What is one or maybe a couple of your favorite food gyms that you found where it's just like, oh man, you'd never know, but in this town, in this little spot, they've got the best, like, blah-de-blah.
Oh, there's so many of those. The first one that came to mind is this place called Adolfo's, which is a very, very tiny restaurant that's very near the Spotted Cat on Frenchman Street in New Orleans. One of the best fish dishes I've ever had in my life. I think they can fit maybe 25, 30 people in there.
Nice.
A friend of ours who's a documentary maker, a filmmaker, told us about that place. That absolutely blew my mind. We were in Gainesville, Florida a few weeks ago, and I wish I could remember the name of the place. We played this place called Heartwood Soundstage on Tom Petty Avenue.
Nice.
Very cool. Love that. Or Tom Petty Alley. And right across the street, there's one of the best arepas I've ever had.
Okay.
In my life. I know I lived in Austin for a long time, but Third Coast Coffee is still my favorite. I've got some on the counter right there. We tour with that coffee with us because we like having it. But oh gosh, there's so many places. There's a place in Key West called One Love Jamaican Food Truck.
Okay.
The best hot tuna tacos and shrimp, and I could go into this for a whole 90 minutes. You should probably stop me now.
What about road hacks? What about travel hacks? You got any of those? I mean, you spend so much time on the road, you've probably come up with little bits here and there.
Oh yeah, and I've been really fortunate to, Mary's got 25 years ahead of me of being on the road. I think a super important one is to bring a candle in your bag, because when you end up in those weird, funky hotel rooms, lighting a little candle takes the edge off of that.
That's smart. I like that.
That's been a big one for me.
You got one more? That one's so good. I've never heard that. Let's see what else is under there.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of what else is a good call. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty big about bringing my coffee on the road. Mm-hmm. So I've got a little travel kettle I travel with, and then this thing, it's called, I'm actually going to pull it up here. It's called a Kalita. So it's a pour over. Okay. But it's small and it's metal.
Okay.
So it hardly takes up any room in your bag, and you can always have pour over coffee. And you can stop at any coffee shop if you care about coffee. Find a roast that you like. We like dark coffee because my partner's from Louisiana and I'm from Texas, so I like dark coffee. And you just ask them to grind it for pour over, and you can have the best coffee in your hotel room.
I tried to get into coffee because I see people have just their little relationship with it, and I'm like, I want that moment, but I don't like I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Unless it's got a whole bunch of sugar or cream or whatever in it. And it's like, well, we don't want to start that habit. So just, I'm a sweet tea. I'm a sweet tea gal.
I love that.
And water, like that's it.
I love that. I will say another thing that I've really, is, I don't know why it didn't sort of initially occur to me, but I think there's a huge benefit to just going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
On the road, like you would in your hometown.
Right.
More and more, I'm really enjoying just having breakfast in the room.
Oh, that's nice.
Having my own little breakfast.
Yeah. So you've got this new album coming out. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so a lot of these songs dropped in or started dropping in around 2016. I was living in Austin at the time, and over the next, 2016 to 2017, 2018, there was a tremendous amount of loss in the community around me, and the musician community particularly. And I was personally affected, of course, by the loss of my mentor, Jaimee Harris, who passed away of cancer in 2017. And my good friend, Bonnie Whitmore and Graham Weber, other friends, were really close to a guy named Chris Porter, who died tragically on the road. Just a lot of stuff like that going on. And so I had a lot of songs drop in that were sort of about that, or at least were channeled through those experiences, but I couldn't finish them. Mm-hmm. And fast forward to 2020, I think what was going on is that I didn't quite have enough life experience to finish the songs that had dropped in. But I felt drawn to revisit them. And so I started doing that in the intense lockdown phase of 2020. And it was incredible because, of course, we were in this global cloud of grief and uncertainty. And a lot of the themes on the record as well are cyclical, whether it's the cycle of addiction, the cycle of generational trauma, how certain things from your family or a belief system can make an imprint, and the cycle of that, even though you're physically able to leave a town, what might follow you, or what, in my case, what did follow me, which was the addiction to alcohol and drugs, and finding faith again in recovery after having my own little battle with the evangelical Christian world, which was by choice what I wanted to be involved in. It was very cool to be in the church where I grew up. It was a part of my social situation. And so a lot of these themes really, really dropped in again in 2020 for me, when every day kind of felt like Groundhog Day. And we're in our own little cycles in our homes.
So you're touching on these very personal things and dropping in on, other people that are going through it as well, trying to channel that through. If you're comfortable talking a little bit more about the personal side of it. I quit drinking November 1st in 2020.
Oh, wow.
The time when a lot of people just started picking up the bottle, maybe, and going harder. It was an invitation to me to not. I also had been arrested twice, and after the second time was kind of like, hey, we should probably figure this out. And it was 5 years later that I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I tricked myself. I only meant to do it for 2 months, and then just kind of kept going a little bit, and then I was like, well, 90 days is close. That's big for AA people. Let's go to that. Well, 100 is close. Let's go to that. Oh, your birthday is down. Oh, well, you've never not drank for your birthday. Maybe not drink. So I just kind of kept pushing it until we've gotten to where we are right now. But the last time I saw you live was at the Johnson House concerts in Huntsville, Texas. And that was probably 2017, 18.
Gosh. I feel like it was even further back than that, but I
16, 17, 18, somewhere there. And you had mentioned a little bit about that journey and that you were sober, and was like, okay, well, if she can do it, maybe I can. So you've been one of the people that have inspired me to go after it. I mean, it took me a couple of years after I heard you say it, but to just know that you were out there doing it made a difference, So what are the things that you do to keep yourself sober? What are some of the daily habits or mantras or lifelines? Did you go through AA? Just kind of talk a little bit more, as much detail as you feel comfortable giving about that journey.
Oh yeah, I've definitely found 12-step recovery to be, really helpful for me, and, trying to be of service to other people, to get out of my own head, to not be so selfish has been really, really a lifeline for me. And to know that I could be useful, because I think when I start going down in a depressive cycle, part of it is like
depressive state.
Right, yeah. Sorry. Exactly. It's like no one wants to be around me. Yeah. I should just remove myself from this planet, and that's where my brain goes. And even just to pick up the phone and talk to somebody else who's struggling, and maybe there's something that I can say that I'm not even aware of, or just what you just shared with me now. It's like, oh wow, like that was useful. Like, maybe I shouldn't erase myself from this planet, whether it's, physically or by returning to picking up a drink, because that removes me and I'm unable to be present.
So one of the things that pushed me to keep going was realizing that, the world's in chaos, and what can I do to help? And it's like, well, I got the message, just fix your house and shine as bright as you can. And it's like, well, maybe we need to figure out how to do that. And booze probably isn't part of that. And I thought 2-month break would just be enough to do that. Thank God I kept going. Without AA, without any of that, just on my own, I realized that I had to be here, and how do you be here now? To probably own all of your choices and your thoughts and words and actions. And when so I was kind of probably about 6 months or so, and somebody told me this, and it is really stuck. When you put herbs in a glass jar of alcohol, what happens? All of the essence is going to be extracted from that herb. So everything having a consciousness, what's the consciousness of booze? Like, what is its MO? What is its motivation? What is it trying to do? What's its agenda? It's to extract essence. And so by consuming that alcohol, we're consenting to have a piece of our essence extracted, and we're not able to be present. Like what got me on that rabbit trail, is that we're able to be present. And when we're able to do that, it invites others to do the same, and to walk that journey, however it looks like to them. So I know that you've struggled with your relationship with faith, changing throughout the years, and sobriety being a big part. If you're comfortable, speaking a little bit to that.
Yeah, I just heard the thing recently. It was told to me secondhand that I think is just incredible, which is that, what is a higher power? And someone said the higher power is something that has a imagination much bigger than mine. And I think that's incredible.
I like that.
I love that too. That's really stuck with me. And yeah, for me, like I said, I really enjoyed being in the church. I learned how to sing in the church. It was a huge part of my social life. And it really, the stuff that I've really carried with me is like to be of service, to look and see where people need help, to, even to, weird, you wouldn't think about it in a way, but I was involved in music and leading worship in the church. Teaches you how to put together a set list in a way that has an emotional arc.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about it. And, like I said, when I was in school, when I was in high school, it was very cool. I grew up in a pretty conservative, mostly evangelical Christian. Like, I think there are 3 people who practice the Mormon faith that I can remember that I went to school with, maybe 4 or 5 Catholics that I remember. It is mostly Protestant evangelical, that world, and I loved it, but I was spending 6 or 7 days at church on top of being in, high school and trying to get into college, and what that looked like at the time, which was really intense. I think a lot of stuff, not to bring up the millennial pain, but I think some of that stuff is really true. Like for us, they didn't do block scheduling, so I was at school from 6:30 to 5 p.m. every day. It was wild, and I got so burnt out before I even went to college.
Right.
So I only went to college for like 1 semester. I was so burnt out, but my experience with that was that it wasn't even like I made a conscious decision to leave the church. I just stopped going when my situation changed. And then I started having these experiences where I post something on Facebook about a positive, what I interpreted to be a positive thing happening in my life, and people that from my church would comment on Facebook, don't forget to give God the glory, or little comments that some were even more kind of daggers. And I started having this thought, like, wow, my phone number hasn't changed. Like, these people could reach out to me. Why are they doing this on Facebook? Like, is this a show? And so then I really started to question the organized aspects of what I had experienced, but I hadn't fully questioned it. I just made a decision to kind of close the door on that. And in 2016, after the political situation shifted in a way in the United States, I was living in a liberal community in Austin, and some people that I hung out with were saying things like, oh, the effing Christians did this, or I can't believe they voted this, or they did this. And it brought up all these questions for me, like, well, my mom's a Christian, and she doesn't vote that way, or she doesn't believe that. And am I a Christian? Do I still believe that?
Right.
I don't know. And I mean, I have found, and I think art, in a way, being a songwriter, I feel like I do have a connection to something that's bigger than me.
Yeah.
And I have no desire to define that at all. I think what I need to do is to believe that there's something bigger than me, so that I can continue to create, and also so that I don't fall off the face of the earth. I need that. I need faith. And part of that is probably because of how I was raised, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. The truth is, after writing this cycle of songs, that I have more questions than I started with. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the songs are now showing me, okay, you've written some songs. You've invited these questions to come up. You're remaining curious. Now you might need to go do some work beyond songwriting. Now you might need to get deeper into some recovery. Now you might need to think about getting a therapist that can help you through these things. I think songwriting has certainly helped me in a lot of ways to pull the poison out of things that are hurtful to me, or ways where I saw other people hurt deeply that also hurt me.
Right.
And with Red Rescue, that was the case. I was really able to get a lot out and go, wow, cool. With this cycle, I've gone deeper.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected, oh, well, that will heal me. Nope. It's just pointed to the work that I need to do further.
Yeah. What does some of that work look like? What is the actual mechanisms of some of that work?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet. And you know what? The first thing is to pick up the freaking phone.
Yeah.
To call.
Yeah.
To call and go, I need to get an appointment there. I need to do this. I need to talk to somebody about this.
Yeah. Just ask for help.
Asking for help. And sometimes that phone can feel like it weighs 1,000,000 pounds,
Yeah. Sometimes recently I found myself that I'll be in the midst of a task and I'm struggling. And the moment that I just say out loud, oh man, I'm struggling, or, oh, I could use some help, or it's like the last time I was starting a fire and I couldn't get it, and was like, man, and I just voiced, man, I'm really struggling over here. And then the fire goes, and I think that it's just, we have to invite the co-creation into our life for it to actually take hold, for it to actually manifest in a time that we recognize it. Because I don't remember who you said it, that everything we're saying is
Ricky Lee Jones, everything you write becomes part of your future one way or another.
Right, because that's what you're putting out to manifest. That's your thought, your word, your action, which is creating your reality, and it's going to show up. It's going to come back to you. The same lady who fired me in Alaska, I told her about my songs, and she was a hypnotist. She was like, well, you're writing all these sad love songs. You're kind of mantraing that into your life. And I was like, ooh, I never thought of it that way. That I'm casting these spells on myself. So I'm trying to figure out how to bridge that gap between this is what I needed to process at one time, and somebody out there needs to hear this to help them process, but I'm not really trying to call any more of this in.
Oh yeah, I think that's a delicate balance. Yeah. I'm always surprised by what I write and how it ends up being used for a purpose that's, bigger than myself. I think there's something about the power of mantras and manifesting. I have to bring this up. So I am obsessed with this online workout program that I got into in the pandemic. It's called School of Thought, THOT. Okay. It's a comedian. Oh. It's so great. This comedian in Venice Beach, her name's Stasia. She hosts these online workouts, and it's perfect because it's a mix of tough love and humor. And she's like, yeah, this sucks. This is not fun, but tell your brain that you're busy right now and you can handle it. Things like that. And at the end, she makes us do these mantras. Well, actually, in between every set. So usually you work, she gives you 4 moves, you do them 3 times. And then you have a little break, and she does, breath, water, mantra, and you have to say your mantras. And she's been really intense about it. And so last year, I kept saying, she does things like, I'm healthy, wealthy, free, and hot. Things are happening for me, not to me. Miracles are happening. And then at the end, you do these yoga moves, and one is your masculine side, and you feel how that feels pushing forward. And then on the left is like your feminine side. And so these are the things you're ready to receive. And I'm like, and with my eyes fully rolled in the back of my head, like, oh, okay, I'll do a mantra. And I'm like, I'm ready to receive a record deal. I'm ready to receive a record deal, And then sure enough, I got a freaking record deal.
Yeah.
And then 2 months ago, I kept saying, I'm ready to receive a Spotify playlist. I'm ready to receive a Spotify.
And I freaking got you did.
Like one of the biggest ones. It's like 4 million people. That doesn't happen to a folk singer no one's heard of that's like not really put out a record. So, and she kept saying she just went to Greece and she kept saying, I'm ready to receive a magical love affair. And now she's in this like love affair with the guy in Greece. So all of that to say, I think there's power in that is for sure. And I totally believe in it. But with songs, I think like our guts let us know. Like there's songs that I've written that are just for me that no one else needs to hear.
Yeah.
That just got out what was going to get out. But I'm always amazed. Like I had this amazing opportunity a few years ago to play for the women in the Gatesville prison, which is a women's prison about 25 minutes outside of where I grew up. And I had this song that I'd written. It was a love song that I wrote in the early stages of my relationship with Mary. Keep me on your mind as we wander through this time, marking off the days with X's and O's. And afterwards, those women were crying, some of them, that, of course, when you sing marking off the days with X's and O's to women who are in a prison situation, oh my God, that's a completely different thing. Missing someone, similar thing.
Yeah.
And it would never have occurred to me that a, like, quote, silly love song, what I interpreted to be a silly love song, would bring tears to women who are incarcerated.
Yeah.
That is the magic that keeps me coming back to songwriting.
Yeah. Well, set and setting is really important. I mean, like how you present the song, and who you're presenting the song to will totally change everything about it. I'd gotten to play at an ayahuasca ceremony before.
Ooh, wow.
And everyone started crying and puking.
Oh, God. Wow.
Now, in any other setting, you'd be like, I quit. I give up. I'm never playing this again. Look, I'm making people cry and puke. But in that setting, it was perfect. It's exactly what you wanted people to do. I was helping people through their process of purging. And I was self-conscious the entire time singing my little love songs, And as I was singing them, started to play it, I was like, oh my God, this is just a stupid little love song, but these are just the songs I know how to play, so this is what I'm going to play. And as the words were coming out, I was realizing that, like, oh my gosh, this could be about ayahuasca. Like, this could be about, the relationship with this energy any energy, And afterwards, people are like, how did you know what songs to play? It was perfect. And I was like, oh.
That's what I feel like is so important about when I sit at the page and I go, you talk about like, how do you know certain things? It's like my gut will tell me, that's not quite right. That's not quite right. And I feel like if I honor my gut as I'm writing, then the song will be fully what it wants to be. And it knows what's going to happen 10 years down the line. Right. I certainly don't. I had an experience, you just unlocked a memory for me. I got to play this really cool songwriting round at a guy named, I think it was at his house, this guy named Mayer, who writes for Twangville, has a house concert outside of Dallas. And it was really cool. It was this great artist from Norway, Joshua Ray Walker. He was kind of just starting to pop at that time. And I remember having this experience of, I was like, why am I playing this song? I was like, what is making me play this song? I was quote, making me. I mean, songs that I've written that I was like, truly don't know why I feel like playing this. You know what? I talked about being in the Gatesville women's prison and playing that song. And this guy comes up to me, super athletic, handsome guy, and he's crying. He's waited at the end of the merch line. Yeah. And he's got 3 friends around him. And he was a basketball player for the Mavs. Okay. And it turns out, either the night before or that morning, his mother had passed away. His mother was incarcerated at Gatesville. Oh. And his friends were like, you have no idea what just happened to him. Like, every single song you played. Like, he was like, I played something that had Tennessee, and he goes, like, she was from Tennessee originally. Like, every single thing hit him in a way. And I'm like, sometimes that's how it is. It's like, maybe the person on the front row, this isn't for them, but there's one person here that needs to hear these songs. And the songs know more than I do. If I follow them, typically I end up in a situation that's pretty astonishing. So, I mean, I'm holding back tears because I'm trying to be professional. But what do you do to keep yourself all in one piece when you're confronted with that kind of energy?
confronted with becoming an integral part in someone's story that, I mean, you may never see again, but they're going to hold that energy with them for a really long time. How do you hold it together when you feel like falling apart?
I think one of the cool things about not being a therapist, I've heard this from my partner and other people, that like songwriters that, you know, write with people in prison or write with veterans. One of the cool things about it is that we're not therapists, so we can cry.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
But at the same time, the more that I go through this journey of songwriting, the more I realize that it's actually not me, it's the songs.
Right.
I didn't do this, the songs did.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so glad the songs could help you. I'm so glad the songs meant something to you. I'm so glad the songs were able to bring you to this experience.
Yeah.
That's how I'm able to view it and articulate it, especially when receiving someone who has been emotionally impacted by what just happened.
Yeah. So I know you're about to do that again tonight. You're going to play. What is this gig? What is this tour, this leg that you're on right now? You're on your own.
I know. It's so terrifying. Talk about being terrified. You know, it's a great reminder because like, oh, it's about the songs. It's not about me. That really helps calm me. But you know, I'm really nervous because I haven't played a set that's longer than 30 minutes in a really long time.
Okay.
I did Kerrville a few years ago. I've done the Woody Guthrie Folk Festival, which gladly has me back pretty much every year. That is like one of the best weeks of my life, always. I have so much fun doing that in Woody Guthrie's hometown of Okemah, Oklahoma. But I've mostly been an opening act for the past 5 years. And I had to get I can't say that word, I guess. I had to get completely broken down. And I quit my job in 2018.
What was that job?
Here we go. I worked at a medical office.
Okay.
So I was the only employee other than the doctor that worked at the medical office. So
okay.
I did everything and had to be really careful about when I wanted to leave. And I got asked to be in a band that I love. It's a really fun band, works a lot, a background singer's dream, and I had to turn it down. So I was like, oh man, I got this job. But that was the signal to me to leave. Okay. And then 9 months after that, I ended up getting together with Mary. We ended up working together, so it was like unbelievable timing. But I had played with when I started playing, I played with my dad in a duo, then I was in another duo and a trio and a band. It hadn't occurred to me until I went on this road after quitting my job that I have never really been on stage alone with an acoustic guitar, and that the troubadour thing is a completely different skill set, and it requires skills that I had none of. Okay. Like talking in between songs, terrifying.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh, what do I do with it? The musical breaks that don't have anything going on because it wasn't written. I'm just like, oh.
You're just talking in my life over here.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, then I realized it was really great because it helped me realize, okay, it's really important to me. Well, I say it's really important to me. That's an ego thing, but I wanted to be taken seriously and still do as a songwriter. Mm-hmm. And I think for women, especially if you can sing, my experience has been, okay, well, I can really sing, but I don't want someone to think I'm a chick singer. I want to be taken seriously as a songwriter, like Towns and Butch Hancock and Guy Clark and all these other songwriters that I love. They're mostly dudes that aren't singing their asses off. Well, I realized, that's all I have to work with up here is my voice and my guitar and the songs. I better make sure I'm really singing my ass off. I better make sure that I can really play guitar. Yeah. And that the songs are rock solid. So it made me a lot stronger, but I had to get completely broken down to dust and built up again. So only in the past 6 months do I feel like, all right, a 30-minute set, I can do that as a troubadour. Yeah. And now, I've been, you see the fear in my eyes. I've been walking around here all day like, I got to play a long show tonight with I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I might crumble tonight. I don't have any idea what's going to happen.
I don't believe that.
But it's exciting, know. And one of the things that I think will always dog me is that I really have an internal conflict about whether I want to be a front person or if I want to be in a supportive role, which no one who's invested on the team
wants to hear.
I'm sure. And probably it's just coming, from I'm vulnerable today. I'm terrified.
Well, do you know what vulnerability is?
Is doing it. I know what courage is, right? You do it when you're scared.
It's the cornerstone of courage. So if we can just shift that and say, I'm being courageous tonight. Yeah. Instead of, because we've been trained to hear vulnerability as a weakness, but really it's the cornerstone of anything remarkable that's ever happened.
For sure.
So if we can shift that story we're telling ourselves and put it in a place of power, I'm going to be courageous tonight. I'm doing this thing,
For sure.
Is this the first time since 5 years or so that you've gone on a stretch as your own, as the lead gal, the leading lady?
It is, yeah. And normally, I mean, when I've done stuff like this in the past, I do have some of this going on for this tour. Like I'm teaming up with some friends of mine in Tulsa or a friend of mine in Little Rock, but I have somebody with me, like song swapping or something. This is me learning how to be a troubadour in real time.
Yeah. For
a longer amount of time, and that is exciting for me. I have this feeling, I don't know it's not going to happen tonight because it's still coming together, but I have a visual thing. Once I start to be able to visualize something, I go, I need to start making that happen.
Yeah.
So about 3 weeks ago, I had this like lightning bolt idea, which is, I want to bring in like some monologue type stuff, which I've never done before.
Cool.
I want to bring in some, like there's a Woody Guthrie thing that I keep hearing in my mind that I want to bring into the show. Little things like that.
Right.
So I think I mean, I don't know if you were ever familiar, if your listeners were, but there was this incredible artist named Jo Carol Pierce.
Okay.
She was from Lubbock. She was Jimmy Dale Gilmore's first wife, and some people know her oddly through that. But she, I think, came out with her first record when she was 52 years old.
Sweet.
And it was this thing called Bad Girls Upset by the Truth, which was, part of it was a one-woman show, but she ended up bringing in a multi-instrumentalist and a guy that I love named David Halley.
Okay.
That sang with her, and it's this like, I don't even want to spoil it, you just have to listen to Bad Girls Upset by the Truth. And it was weird because before she died, we were in Europe and and the UK, and that whole month I was listening to it before we went on stage, just going like, man, Jo Carol Pierce is such a badass. Like, how did she do this? And at 52, I mean, she was social, I think she worked for CPS or something. She's genius and has this incredible Texas drawl that reminds me of where I grew up. And I think Lubbock and Waco have a lot of similarities. And, something about, I was just a little bit homesick. And listening to that over and over again, it started to give me courage. And when she passed away, I went, oh, wow. Like, I wish I'd really gotten a chance to meet her. But then I started thinking, like, what can I take from what she did? Which, I mean, is singular. No one can ever do what she did, but I was like, maybe that I'm being drawn to do something theatrical.
Right.
Okay, I've never done that in my life before. So yeah, I'm excited about the opportunity to further the exploration of how to perform this song cycle and just how to perform again and in a longer format. And that's very, very exciting. But it would be dishonest to not mention that there's definitely trepidation around it.
Well, I definitely love and appreciate that you shared that, because the whole point of this show that I'm doing is to try to demystify the creative process, to try to inspire people to be a doer no matter what it is that you're doing,
Cool.
and to show the human side behind it and let people realize that, like, look, these people aren't doing whatever this is with, full confidence and everything. They're doing it because they just have a desire to do it, and they're working past any of the mud to get there, but like, there's dirt under their nails. They've been scratching and clawing, and this is what it kind of looks like and sounds like. And hopefully you can see yourself in here somewhere and go do whatever that is. It might not be music, but you see a similar thing in some of the musicians I've had on. It might not be a painter, but you see similarity. It might not be somebody who's like a big name. I've got people who are just people who are in my journey. Just like, you're a cool person that's got a story. I want to talk to you, and everyone has an equal footing. We're all just meat suits. We're all just like divine rays of infinite light trapped in a meat suit.
Yeah, this is a weird, not to be name droppy, but this blew it still blows my mind. But Robert Plant really is a fan of Mary's work. He deeply knows it, and he's extraordinary. We've had several opportunities to be in his orbit, and we had this very long, hilarious dinner with him in Nashville.
Fun.
I was cracking up. Went to eat at this place, which I won't mention, but it was so funny because no matter what he did, like, he couldn't get his drink, he couldn't get his food. Like, they kept messing it up.
Yeah.
And he's like super down to earth and so funny, charismatic, that whole deal. He's just unbelievable. And at one point, he had his hair in a bun, and he took his hair down and shook it out, like all his curls, and like sang that, and everything. It was like, where is my tequila?
Oh my gosh.
It was so funny. But we were having a conversation, and mostly I was really listening and taking in what he was saying. It was fascinating. He was working on the record with Alison Krauss at that time, the new record, and he was talking to Mary, and Mary was kind of filling him in a little bit about what I was doing. I think I just made this record, was about to make this record, and all that stuff. And he said, that's great. He's like, you're talented, I'm talented, she's talented. And he points, the person that was serving us, the waitress, and he said, she's talented, we all have talent.
Yeah.
We're all doing this. We all have an opportunity to do this. And I thought that was just so beautiful. Because I think he really believes that, based on the way the interactions I've had with him,
Well, and I can go along and believe that as well, because I actually got to meet him at Americana Fest.
Oh, you did? Oh.
So I was busking outside the Ryman until they asked me to stop. And so, which was like not even all the way through the first song.
Right, yeah.
But I was prepared for that. So I put my guitar in a car and sent it to my cousin's house. And then I went inside. I had a ticket. Well, my plan, this is how I know I'm co-creating. My plan was to be out there busking and get recognized and, like, it could happen. It won't happen if I'm not there.
That's right.
And so just let people go through, and then I'll go like right before the show starts. I got a seat. We're good. But I'm on the co-creation journey. And so when the guy told me to stop, I didn't fight him. I could have fought him a little bit. I could have moved across the street, like whatever. I was like, oh, okay, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. Fine. So send the guitar away, and I go and sit down. Well, it turns out Robert Plant is sitting behind me and 3 people over. But there's nobody sitting in the seats next to me yet because I'm there early. And so I look at him and I'm like, hey, good luck tonight, because they were nominated.
Oh, of course, okay.
And he said, it waves me off. Oh, I'm not here for that. And starts to speak up like he's going to share more with me, but didn't want to speak that loud. So I just scooted over because no one was there yet. And I was like, just, thanks for everything you put into the world. And he kind of blushed and did look down and gave me a little shoulder nub, thanks, kid, kind of thing. And then when the people eventually sat down, there was they were making a bunch of noise. And so him and I locked eyes and had a nonverbal moment of these guys,
funny.
kind of thing. So when you telling me that story about him, I'm so glad that I have that little thing. And then he went and presented the award to Buddy Miller. So that's why he was there.
Buddy Miller.
Yeah. So he was there to present that award, and so that's why he was really there, and he was so down to earth. There was a lot of noise in the lobby, and they had the doors open, and he got up to close the doors and come sit back down.
Well, man. It's interesting. I mean, there are a lot of things that are interesting about Robert Plant to me, but he is an expert on American roots music. He knows more about American roots music than I do, certainly, and than probably most American folk singers, I would say. He's really studied it. We're in, Mobile right now? I think he's gone down to Muscle Shoals quite a bit. He's looked, those guys in England were super inspired by the early blues here. That's what...
Yeah.
A lot of rock and roll was born out of, right? So, yeah, man, I don't know him, but the interactions I've had with him have been just so great. Buddy Miller, too. Talk about a hero. Yes, Led Zeppelin, cool. What Robert has done with Alison Krauss, freaking love that. Yeah. I love the Band of Joy thing because I was like, whoa, those are a lot of my favorite artists in one band, including Buddy Miller, and they're doing this wacky town song that I'd never heard before. I mean, just really cool stuff. But all that to say, oh, cool, Robert Plant, Buddy Miller. He's very easy to talk to and has been very complimentary and wonderful. But that's a person he's in the room, and I'm like, oh, Buddy Miller's here. That's one of my number one heroes.
Yeah,
I'm super nervous about. I can have. He's very conversational and great, but I just get a little anxious around that because he's more formative for me than Robert Plant. Laurie McKenna, same.
Yeah, I would be a blubbering idiot. I'm pretty sure I would try to hold it together, but I don't know if I'd be able to.
He makes it easy to talk to him. He's great.
Yeah. With Laurie, I for sure would. I don't know. I would like to think. I'm sure she's super sweet.
So sweet. Yeah. So easy to be around. I don't want to turn it to a name dropping thing, but yeah, I'm not. And I will say that is a thing in Nashville that has really blown my mind since moving there. And of course, Mary has been there for over 20 years, so she knows a lot of these people, and that's been really great. But it's a wild thing, when John Prine was alive, and you just be like, oh, there's John Prine out in the world, or you go to a restaurant and you're like, oh, there's so and so. being in the mix of that's interesting.
Yeah. So I want to let you go here because I know you got a big night to get ready for. Geez. I'm just going to give you the opportunity to one last answer is if you've got any misconception about you or misunderstanding or anything you would really like people to know, what would you like to pass on?
Oh, I don't know anything about that, but there's something I would love to tell people about.
Go for it.
Is that it's kind of a detour, but one of the things that's been really cool about this new record is that I got the idea after I put 3 music videos in motion and realized, all of the people I've hired to make these videos are songwriters. So I'm getting a song, the last one is being made on Sunday, actually. I'm having a music video made for every song on the record.
Oh, cool.
And they're all made by different songwriters.
Oh, that's cool.
And this record, we made in the sort of intense time of the pandemic, and so for the most part, it's me, Mark Hallman, who produced the record, that plays almost everything on it, Andre Moran, who's a guitar player, was the engineer. I had some friends fly in a couple things, David Mansfield, Betty Sue, Chris Nelson, Dirk Powell, who's a co-writer on the record as well, but mostly it was just me and Mark and Andre, and I love to collaborate, like I mentioned, and so I figured out, semi by accident, that this would be a really cool way to collaborate with other musicians this visual medium. And I'm really excited about that because it's been really cool to see how different songwriters interpret these songs and create a visual piece of art. I'm not a visual art person as far as that, drawing, just not in my skill set. So that is pure magic to me, that people can make these things happen. And that's been really fun. And I'm excited for people to see all these videos as they're released.
It would be cool to see little homages to those videos in this stage production you're trying to form.
Right.
If there's a way to pull in, I don't know, just a visual image, a dance, a color, something, that talks to that speaks to those videos. That would be fun to see.
That's in my planning board.
Sweet. We'll see. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing your story and just being the human that you are that, helps inspire others to keep doing what they're doing.
Back at you. Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck tonight.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I don't think you need luck. Have fun tonight. I think that's what I want to say.
I think I need both. So.
Yeah. While I want to give my guests a chance to talk about their specific projects, my main intention in our conversations is to pull back the layers and talk about the personal experiences behind the projects, as I believe it is the life experiences that breathe life into the projects. I am always very humbled and appreciative when people are willing to talk about deeply personal aspects such as sobriety and spirituality, and at the same time, I'm excited to get to share those rich conversations with listeners. I think being able to see the vulnerability of another helps give us strength. Thank you for being here to listen to episode 5 with Jaimee Harris on the Doers of Things. I just want to remind you of the value for value model this listening experience runs on. My current pledge to you is to never have sponsorship ads or corporate commercials. I also have no plans on creating tiered content or a subscription fee that prices people out of the experience of hearing their fellow humans share their stories. All content is for all people, all the time. I can do that with your help as a producer of the show via your time, talent, and treasure. So if you enjoy the show, please consider becoming a producer to whatever level you can. Head on over to thedoersofthings.com in the Contribute tab to learn more about how you can jump on board. Until the next time you tune in to The Doers of Things, I'm Mary Brett saying, find your courage through your vulnerability.